sister in mother's side, Father.
Your blood sister.
No, Father.
No.
No, cousin, Father.
Cousin. Yeah, because there is no word for cousin in Vietnamese. Only M. Yeah, so that's why sister. Okay, so today you are the sole thesis presenter, and we are glad to have you here, reach this moment. Okay, would like to invite you to start this presentation with the prayer.
Let us begin our presentation, this offering prayer for true love. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Holy Mother Mary, you are the mother of love. I come before you with the heart seeking love. I ask for your intercession to open my heart to true love, a love that is patient, kind, and full of grace. Help me to be a vessel of love, to love myself, to love others, and to be worthy of receiving love in return. Amen. Mary, seat of wisdom. Saint Anthony Mary Claret. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Okay, so welcome once again, Father Kenneth Masong. Welcome to. Thank you for sharing your time with us. And today we are going to listen to the presentation of our student Chao Xuan Tang with his thesis titled "A Philosophical Exposition of Blaise Pascal's Concept of Love as a Gift of Grace Toward Meaningful Human Existence." So you have 25 minutes for this presentation, and after the question and answer. Okay, you may now proceed.
Good morning to my respected panelists, Father Kenneth Masong, PhD, and Father Angelito as Ankala CMF, and my advisors, Sir Ben, Carlo, and Atim, and to everyone joining us both on site and online. I am very glad and honored to be here today to present my thesis entitled A Philosophical Exposition of Blaise Pascal's Concept of Love as a Gift of Grace to one meaningful human existence. And it is my presentation outline. And let's proceed to the chapter 1, Introduction, the background of the study. In the history of philosophy, many thinkers have attempted to understanding what gives human life its deepest meaning. Why some emphasize reason, freedom, or happiness. Pascal offers a distinctive perspective rooted in the interplay between human fragility and divine grace. For Pascal, the human person is both great and wretched. Love, that unable to fulfill attainment by human effort alone. Within this tension, love emerges not merely as a human emotion or moral virtue, but as a gift of grace that enables the human person to transcend self-centeredness and move toward a more authentic and meaningful existence. This presentation will explore how Pascal's understanding of love as grace illuminates the human search for meaning and reveals the transformative role of divine gift in shaping the fulfillment of human life. At the positive statement of the problem, for the main question, how does Blaise Pascal's concept of love as a gift of grace lead us to true love, relationship, and meaningful human existence? And it is my sub-question. First question about tracing the philosophical framework and foundations of Blaise Pascal's concept of love as a gift of grace. The second sub-question about exploring how Pascal way of grace by love shape or make our existence meaningful. And the last sub-question about expounding on Pascal's concept of love help us overcome problems of relationships like self-centeredness. And it is my thesis statement. Blaise Pascal's concept of love as a gift of grace from God can help individuals choose the best existence that God wants them to be, an existence that is considered meaningful. For the significance of the study, Literature is for all those who would like to study love, especially for those who are interested in seeking love and would like to find true love. Moreover, it is for all Christians and non-Christians to have a view of understanding the love of God, and it affects our existence. It also contributes to the development and response to the relationship of love, especially the relationship with God, in particularly the author himself, to seek and to better understand the importance of love in many different aspects and highlight the concept of love between God and human beings. It helps the author to always do the best existence that God wants him to be. For the scope and limitations, this study examines Pascal's concept of love as a gift of grace, exploring its implication for autonomy and meaningful existence within a Christian theistic framework. It focuses on Pascal's religious philosophical works, including Pansies, and various interpretations. The analysis highlight doctrines of grace, love, and freedom. For the methodology, the researcher conducts an expository thesis on Blaise Pascal's concept of love as a gift of grace by collecting, analyzing, and interpreting different sources. Besides that, the researcher employs AI tools like Grammarly, ChatGPT, Quillbot, and Google Gemini for grammar correction, style suggestions, and content summarization, while ensuring own AI-generated content is critically reviewed and original ideas are cited according to academic integrity standard. For a conceptual framework, Pascal concept of love as a gift of grace highlight that God's grace is freely given and unconditional, not contingent on human actions. Pascal addresses misunderstanding about grace tied to suffering and freedom, and argues that reason alone cannot validate God's existence. He posits two existential paths, materialistic path that leads to degradation and despair, versus a spiritual path that fosters transcendence and self-centeredness, self-actualization, ultimately guiding individuals toward true love and meaningful life. For chapter 2, Blaise Pascal concept of love as a gift of grace. Blaise Pascal was a French mathematician, physic, physicist, and Christian philosopher. He raised in a privileged environment by a father who was a civil servant. His education was home-based, leading to interest in mathematics and physics, including the creation of the mechanical calculating machine. In 1654, after a significant religious experience, he dedicated his latest years to defending Zionism and planning a mass transit system for Paris. His literary legacy comprises around 500,000 works across various disciplines, though much of it remained unpublished during his lifetime. Pascal's writing style varies with the subject. It advocates a neutral approach and often employing aphorism and that challenge rationality and emphasize faith. His exploration of human nature reveals themes of fragility, desire for gratification, and self-awareness, while his theological work integrates the interplay between divine grace and human freedom. It reflects his apologetical intent to illuminate the Christian faith to diverse audiences. For his idea of love, according to Blaise Pascal, love, particularly heavenly love, is a divine gift of grace. It separates from human effort and reason. He posits that while individuals can pursue virtue, true love for God is bestowed upon those receptive to it. It emphasizes that love is felt in the heart rather than understood through reason. As Sandreger, however, argues that love is devoid of reason and that introducing rational justification diminishes its purity. He framed love as an unconditional feeling, contrasting Pascal's view that knowledge, knowledge acknowledges mystical reasons for love's existence. They agree on love's irrational nature, but Pascal valued the interplay of mystery with reason, while Shega sees reason as a corrupting influence. For his idea of grace, Pascal's theological framework influenced by Jansenism and Saint Augustine. It underscores human depravity and the necessity of divine grace for salvation. In his work, he presents grace as a transformative divine gift that reshapes human existence. Pascal critiqued the over-reliance on reason in matter of faith and asserts that recovery from original sin is achievable only through grace, diminishing human efforts as insufficient. His greater theory emphasized that belief is a gift from God and cannot be reached through rational thought. In free choice regarding this, Pascal connects moral decision to divine grace. It asserts that while human beings can resist grace, God's mercy enables free will, illustrating a divine support that allows for genuine moral agency. For grace and love relationship, grace central to Christianity is a divine gift that facilitates creation and salvation. As articulated by Blaise Pascal, his success that human marked by original sin cannot attain salvation without divine grace, which transforms the heart and nurtures love for spiritual goods. Pascal emphasizes that true reason must confront human fallibility and promote a sincere relationship with God, leading to genuine happiness. He asserts that divine grace induces a strong inclination to believe and reveal the eternal struggle between self-love and devotion. Ultimately, grace derives a shift from selfless desires to a deeper quest for spiritual truth. For reason and limitation, Pascal argued that the heart has its reason, which reason does not know. It illustrates the limitation of human reason in understanding spiritual truth, particularly divine love, which is felt through the heart and defies rationality. This perspective is consistent with his theological views in Pensis, where he asserts that certain truths, especially in reason and emotions, can be grasped only through intuition. Additionally, he critiques humanity's obsession with glory, suggesting that the pursuit of recognition reveals a contradiction. People seek societal esteem despite their material wealth while devaluing humanity. He concludes that his yearning for recognition points to a deeper need for divine approval rather than mere human validation. In this chapter, the researcher presents Pascal's life and work. It highlights his view of love as a divine grace that helps individuals transcend weaknesses. It discusses the impact of Jansenism on Pascal's notion of grace, particularly in addressing desires stemming from the fall of Adam and Eve. The chapter also underlies the limits of human reason in grasping spiritual truths, especially divine love, and poses questions regarding the reception of grace without belief in God and its role in facing life's challenges. The subsequent chapter will delve deeper into this theme related to living meaningful life. For the chapter 3, ways of grace-based love in living meaningful existence, Blaise Pascal characterized human existence as a paradox of greatness and misery, where the duality of our fallen nature and reflective intellect leads to anxiety and search for distractions from the inevitability of death. He asserts that Christianity reconciles This misery with divine magnificence at human suffering reflects a lot nobility that distinguishes us from animals. Pascal highlights human dignity through our capacity for thought, describing us as thinking rich in an indifferent universe. He emphasized that true morality stems from introspection, while the restless pursuit of distraction signifies humanity's struggle with inner emptiness and morality. For living and meaningful existence, Pascal posits that pure reason is ina- inadequate for understanding the human condition and divinity. It advocates the humanity and the recognition of reason's limits. He presents Pascal's wager, his success belief in God as rational amidst uncertainty, counters obsession and underscore the importance of religious practices. He emphasizes the dependence of divine grace for meaningful existence. It asserts that true happiness is found in Christian faith. Pascal distinguishes heart-centered love, charity from the intellect knowledge. It argues that charity leads to interior freedom and stable life. He critiques distraction from divine purpose. It promotes fulfillment through sacred time. Through habituation, belief is shaped by actions rather than solely rational arguments. While seeking God involves humility and love, it nurtures human genuine faith. In the chapter conclusion, a relationship with God provides the essential love and hope to transcend despair. It leads to meaning and redemption. True greatness is derived from God's favor rather than personal merit, while humility emerges from acknowledging our faults. Understanding the narrative of creation, fall, and redemption through Christ reveals a path to completeness and significance. For the chapter 4, Blaise Pascal's love counter relational self-centeredness. For self-centeredness in human relationships, explore the nature of self-centeredness through various philosophical and theological lenses. Plato posits the soul's harmony through knowledge of the good, while Aristotle emphasizes social virtue for achieving eudaimonia or flourishing. The Judeo-Christian perspective consider human inherently good but flawed. Requiring divine guidance, Augustine adopts a pessimistic view of self-centeredness post-original sin, contrasting with Aquinas' focus on reason and natural law for community benefit. Pascal critiques intellect overvaluation and advocates humility, links the mind's orientation with divine influence for a meaningful life. The self-centeredness or selflessness happiness model, SSHM, reviews selflessness, foster lasting happiness, while self-centeredness leads to negative emotions. It research necessitates a bi-dimensional analysis of happiness. It highlights the psychological processes tied to self-consciousness and its impact on emotional stability and harmony. In Blaise Pascal and Paradox of Human Nature, Pascal asserts that true reason must address the duality of human existence, greatness and wretchedness. He posits that genuine happiness arises from God, from love for God and a rejection of evil. He critiques philosophers for failing to confront pride and lust due to their self-serving notion of good. Contrasting moral framework with human nature, he argues that consumerism overlooks profound passion that uplift humanity and often leads to pride. Authentic reason, according to Pascal, must diagnose pride and concupiscence, identify their roots, and provide solutions, which he contends other reasons overlook. He concludes that True understanding originates from God, who make humanity pure. That the fall into arrogance has caused spiritual blindness and greed. It results in a contradictory existence of perceived greatness within suffering. For the soul of the paradox, in this session, the researcher evaluates the paradox of Jesus' faith through Pascal's wager, focusing on Pascal's views on nature, human nature. He argues that humanity's misery stems from self-centeredness and destructive tendencies. It asserts that reason supports belief in God. Pascal claims the risks of faith are minor compared to the potential eternal reward. And it also emphasizes the need for uh, religious practices to foster genuine belief. He argues that only Christianity effectively addresses human wretchedness, while also recognizing the influence of political authority and tradition. He critiques radical philosophical ideas. In the chapter conclusion, Pascal discourse asserts that human greatness is derived from an awareness of mystery, contrasting it with the existence of peace. He critiques philosophy that advocates self-sufficiency for happiness and emphasizes the necessity of divine insight for understanding the human condition. Pascal argued that authentic religion reconciles humanity, potential for greatness, and wretchedness. It highlights the importance of a relation dynamic with God. He presents Pascal wager, suggesting that belief in God carry low risk compared to the danger of disbelief. And he recognized the arbitrary yet essential role of political authority in human behavior. For chapter 5, for summary, this thesis explores Blaise Pascal's notion of love as a divine gift of grace within the context of his life and existentialism. It argues that Pascal Christian faith informs his personalist philosophy, which posits grace as essential for meaningful existence. Chapter 1 addresses how Pascal love fosters true relationship and fulfillment. Chapter 2 outlines the intellectual basic of his philosophy and counters skepticism. Chapter 3 examines how love and grace contribute to a meaningful life. Assert that grace fosters spiritual over material desires. The chapter 4 critiques self-centeredness, referencing Plato, Aristotle, Augustine, and Aquinas, highlights that true greatness comes from acknowledging imperfections and seeking divine grace for authentic love. Chapter 5 includes summary, philosophical insight, and recommendations. For the philosophical insights, as a philosophy student, the researcher analyzed love as a gift of grace, citing the biblical story of Job to illustrate that true love depends on trust in God amid suffering. Referencing Blaise Pascal, the study posits love as a divine gift that reveals deeper spiritual truths. It highlights three key points. First, Pascal's notion of love as a divine gift. Second, the meaningful existence granted by grace-based love. And the last, methods of diminished self-centeredness in relationships. The conclusion emphasizes that acknowledging human imperfection fosters authentic relationships with God that provide hope and redemption, linking grace, love, and the human pursuit of meaning through faith, while suggesting that religious engagement is in facing life's difficulties. For a recommendation, the study explored Blaise Pascal's interpretation of love as a grace-based gift, highlighting the significance of the core in valuing what precedes rational thought. It proposes future research avenue regarding the transformation of self-love are more appropriate through received love and its influence on moral agency. Additionally, its success investigating self-love effects on social comparison and moral blindness, thereby enhancing understanding in ethical psychology and character development. Pascal argues that humans often evade existential truths such as death and ignorance. It seeks happiness through distraction rather than containment, which reveals the role of self-deception in navigating emotional experiences as articulated in the passage. Let me end my presentation in this quotation. Man is only a reed, the weakest in nature, but he is a thinking reed. There is no need for the whole universe to take up arms to crush him. A vapor or the drop of water is enough to kill him. But even if the universe were to crush him, man would still be no more than his slayer, because he knows that he's dying and the advantage the universe has over him. The universe knows none of this. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you very much, Tang, for presenting the main points of your thesis. Now we proceed to questions, clarifications from Father Kenneth.
Okay, thank you very much for a thesis that you have written on Blaise Pascal. No, I have to admit that Blaise Pascal is one of my favorite philosopher. No, because of a good number of contemporary philosophers, Blaise Pascal exemplifies this um, beautiful how do you say this? Beautiful synthesis of what it means to believe in God and likewise to embrace our fallen nature. No? On that regard, he is very much Augustinian. No? The very last quotation that you have given of Blaise Pascal really speaks of how human nature is a weak reed that finds strength in God. Okay. However, as I have noticed, no, a good number of the theses that have been submitted for defense are actually written well because largely because of the introduction and use of chat GPT and so many other AI systems, artificial intelligence systems, which help you and all researchers come up with a readable and sufficiently understandable work. Okay, it's very good, no? It's very good to make use of artificial intelligence and to talk about Blaise Pascal's notion of love as a gift of grace. Now, my only concern is this, no? It has something to do largely with your sources. No? I'm very sure that you're very familiar with the fact that Blaise Pascal's Pensée, the major work that you dealt with here, is basically an unfinished book. No? It's an unfinished book,
Yes, sir.
and it's basically just a collection of the sayings and ideas that Blaise Pascal actually has. No? And I'm very sure that you're familiar that this book underwent so many editions. Precisely because these are just collections of sayings, a good number of authors just collected them and put them in thematic settings. Now, my point here is this. Most of your sources actually come from Gutenberg. No? And I don't have any problem with the use of, with the editions that Gutenberg actually um, presents or provides for free. Now, for free. But you see, very often, what comes for free has its own particular cost. And what is that? Very often, the editions that Gutenberg presents and gives for free are the older, outdated editions. No? Meaning, it's not even the authoritative edition. No? You're going to look into a more philosophical source for Blaise Pascal, especially his Pensée work. Um, most of the writings are no longer divided according to topics. No, because if you check, I'm sure you check naman, the table of contents of the work that you use, they are arranged according to topic, thematic. No? No? And quite often the problem there is you have the editor already putting meaning to certain texts of Blaise Pascal. And that's why the more authoritative works or translations of Blaise Pascal is not actually this edition. No? It's Celier's edition of Pensée. Yeah, you get the idea?
Yes, Father.
No, because keep in mind that Pensée, as I've said, these are fragments only, meaning probably Blaise Pascal had some idea, he wrote it down. And then the following day, he wrote it down. And quite often, these philosophers, they write down their ideas in view of organizing them later. So these are just notes. You get the idea? And that's exactly the very reason why we need to be very, very critical of the use of our sources in Blaise Pascal's Pensée. No? I'm not trying to say that the translation is mistaken or there are problems with translation. In terms of translation, no problem. No? No translation, problem, no translation. It's still close to the original French. No? But the problem is how they are arranged. No? How they are arranged. And a good number of, because even until now, books are actually published Ponce, and there are so many editions of Ponce. No? And when you have a work that has many editions, as a scholar, you need to ask, why? Diba?
Yes, Father.
Because there are good editions and there are also not good editions. No? And that's the very reason why, you know, even if you looking at your bibliography, no, basically all of them are taken from Gutenberg, no? Liberty Fund, CCEL, no, all of these things are actually these are good, but they're not scholarly, no? And as a I think, no, as a if you're really serious about doing a scholarly work, you also need to use a scholarly edition of a particular work. Okay, that's basically the first thing that I would like to mention. No?
Yes, Father.
I really don't know why you ended up going to the internet when you can just go to the library. No, you go to the Rizal Library. In the Rizal Library in Ateneo, they have better editions of Pascal's work. I don't know if you really consulted. No, they have so many Pascal, more scholarly works and secondary sources on Pascal. Literally philosophical. No? And that's why I'm quite surprised that you said in the beginning of your work that you consulted Rizal Library of Ateneo, but you know your bibliography is very thin. No, you can have consulted more scholarly, reliable editions.
Yes, Father.
In ano no, it seems to be that you when you decided on your topic, oh, I'll talk about Pascal, no, about love as a gift of grace. Sure, no problem with that. And then you started to check the internet. Oh, I have a free copy here. I might as well use this. No, no. You just want to have a translation, good, readable translation, no problem. But good doesn't mean it's the best. No? And definitely when it comes for free, quite often it's not the best. No? You get the idea?
Yes, Father.
Okay. Secondly, again, with the question of the sources that you have, most of your sources are actually blogs. Yeah, you get that. For example, like these Media Chanel, medium.com, no? Comment.org, making sense of our contradiction in Blaise Pascal in Comment Magazine. Even Partially Examined Life. I actually listen to Partially Examined Life, no? But these are blogs, no? And blogs are not exact, they may be very good starting point for philosophical reflection, but blogs are people randomly saying things without even, with very few regard for the resources. No, they just throwing their opinions about certain things. You get the idea? I don't mind you checking blogs, no, blogs and vlogs, videos and textual blogs, no. But as I've said, you're not supposed to. These are just starting points for you to have a broad idea, no? But you don't make them as authoritative sources in your bibliography. You get the idea? Because the moment you write it there, I mean, I can write a blog, put it in Facebook, and then the next thing I know, it's already here in a thesis of a particular student. You get the point?
Yes, Father.
Don't. That's not scholarly. You're entering into a conversation, but you don't treat it as a scholarly work. You get the idea?
Yes, Father.
No, because blogs are not scholarly work. They're just people talking about things. No? Now you may agree to their idea, no? But when you make references to them, no, you don't. It doesn't help you in your effort to present yourself as a scholar.
That's what most quotation I also get from the primary sources.
Precisely, that's my point.
Yes, Father.
You don't make them your primary sources because they are not. Perhaps some authors, for example, the one on the one interviewed for Partially Examined Life, no problem with that. But you keep in mind that they are interviewed for Partially Examined Life because they are scholars. You get the idea?
Yes, Father.
But did you refer to the scholarly work that they did? No. You get the idea?
Yes, sir.
You did not even consult the scholarly work that they published. For example, Mark Linsenmeyer, no? He was the one that you mentioned. You did not you did not even include, no, whether he published any scholarly article on that particular topic. You get the point?
Yes, Father.
No? If you want to make your thesis appear scholarly, no, you have to present your bibliography and footnotes as coming from scholarly sources also, no, and not just people randomly saying things in blogs and in also magazines, no, and it's just quite not, I don't know, Love Truth Blog, the very name itself, no, .com. And then you even have Words on Fire. No, I don't have any problem with that. I also consult Words on Fire. No, again, is that scholarly? I'm sure Bishop Barron is a scholar, no? But it doesn't mean that if it's in the internet, you get the idea? I'm sure there are better um, peer-reviewed resources published by outstanding universities, no, in Ateneo Library, no, on Blaise Pascal, rather than the bibliography that you actually provide. Even Westmont College is just they just provided an article that is like, I don't know, I think it's only 500 word essay. Now, on Blaise Pascal, it enters into your bibliography. Westmont College, westmont.edu. No? Yeah, you get the idea?
Yes, Father. But
They-
most of them also from the journal articles that
Ah,
most of them are the journal articles that longer and I get from Gesto and
yeah, no problem with that.
that's what.
My point is you included them. You get the point?
Yes, Father.
It's one thing to say, oh, I have very good articles, very good articles, and then one article appears. Let's just say, no, let's just say um, something that's just randomly taken. That doesn't contribute to your research. It actually questions your ability to judge how you use your article, your sources. You get the idea? I'm not trying to say that you did not consult scholarly articles. That's not my point. My point is you included books and sources that should not be there. You get the idea?
Yes,
Even
sir.
Wikipedia, no? Wikipedia, you in your website sources, no? You ended up including their Wikipedia, even page 74. Page 74, Wikipedia, no? The paradox of greatness and wretchedness of man, no? If I'm not mistaken, the discourse on the passion of love, it's in the Pensée. But why did you include it there? That discourse on the passion of love is in the work Pensée itself. I'm going to click this one. Oh. What is the source of discourse on the passion of love? I'm actually doing it right now.
Yes, Father.
No? If you're going to click the source, okay, the internet is a little bit slow. Okay, the edition, that work, came from this work entitled Thoughts. No? Thoughts, translated by Trottier, Letters, Minor Works, etc., etc. They are also in Pensée. You get the idea? You already have a primary source on this. It's there. Why do you have to put it also in the web sources when it's actually the whatever you find in the web source is also in the original source? You get the idea? How do you organize your resources?
Yes, Father.
Now, if you're going to put a web source, sure, no problem. That's work website sources, no problem with that. If there are really, but only when they are unique, meaning they are not readily available anywhere else except on that particular website. But if you're going to work to quote something, Blaise Pascal, also written by Blaise Pascal, but that's actually contained in a particular book, I already have it there. Is it not there? Did you not check it?
It's there, Father.
Precisely, that's my point. Why repeat a source? It's like this, huh? Let's just say, being in time of Heidegger. And then one particular chapter of being in time of Heidegger or section, let's just say chapter 3, section 8, was reproduced in a particular website. You're also going to add the website. It's in the book that you already quoted. You get the idea?
Yes, Father.
No reason that it should be there. Now, if Father, it's written by Blaise Pascal, it's in the website. Now, okay, but if it did not appear in any printed edition of a book or a journal, uniquely appearing only in a website, there, you put it there as a website because that's the only place where it's available. You get the idea?
Yes, Father.
You don't make your thesis appear scholarly because you have so many works cited, when at the end of the day, it's just the same thing. Okay?
Yes, Father.
Mm-mm. Okay. Same thing also, for example, in the bibliography, no? The pensée is one, no? But the thoughts of Blaise Pascal, translated by Charles Keegan Paul, is basically the same. Why use two sources?
I choose the Pansy translated by Doctor because it's clear and readable, and it's also
Because it is.
it is clear and readable, and also it's wise used in philosophical studies. And the introduction of Elios also provides helpful insight into Blaise Pascal thought, and this version balances accuracy and accessibility. It makes it suitable for my analysis.
And that it cannot be achieved with using only one source.
Um, I would like to make the source is more reachable,
You would like to make your sources what?
to be more reachable. It's,
Reachable.
yes,
That's not your point when reachable to whom?
for me to in order to better understanding about the Pascal concept of love.
If you're going to like for example again, no, when we are dealing with editions and translations of particular work, like Being in Time, no, Being in Time, there is an old English translation published by Blackwell, no, and then a newer translation, the one done by Staunbong, Joan Staunbong, no. Now, Joan Sambo's edition is a newer one. There's a reason why she retranslated it differently also. Now, those two editions are both scholarly editions. No? Now, yeah, there are reasons why some people go back to the original English old, and there are also reasons why some people prefer Stambo's translation. But you need to establish exactly. It's not because of your convenience that this one translated this one translated this work, that you incorporate it also in your text. No? So it's all a question. I don't have any problem with the topic. Actually, I do, but I will talk about that. I'm still in the technical things in your work. No? And I think you need to justify making use of so many editions. No? No? Because that's part of your responsibility. You present yourself as a scholar on a particular topic because you know how these editions play out differently. Okay? As I told you, even the very edition of Ponce that you use is actually not the most authoritative edition. No? Even you ask Google, is the edition that I'm using the best? Google will tell you it's not. It's an old, it's good, but not scholarly. Google will tell you that if you did that. No? Actually, I did it. Now, you get the point?
Yes, Father.
No? Because the mere fact that you got it from Gutenberg, it's already questionable. No? Okay? What else? I think I think for the technical things, I think that suffices. Okay, now let's go to the content of your thesis. Okay. Um, I do understand the problem and the consideration of Blaise Pascal when it talks of love as a gift of grace. No? Now, if that is the case, if your work is a philosophical work, if your work is a philosophical work, no, don't you think? And this is actually one of the problem also in Pascal scholarship. Don't you think that you're making him a theologian in arguing that love as a way towards meaningful existence cannot but be a gift of grace.
Uh,
Because keep in mind that when Pascal came into existence, that's in the early modern period, di ba? And during that time, there's already a clear understanding of what is supernatural and what is natural. And what is trying to say that love, there is love in the natural level, no? Attained by reason and our own capacity to do wrong, etc., etc. But what it's trying to say is love in the natural level is not enough. No? You need to appeal to that grace which is in the domain of the supernatural.
Yes, but because of the fallen of Adam and Eve, because Pascal also influenced by Augustine and Zoroastrianism, that's why he come out with the ideas of human desires are corrupted, and so we need grace in order to gain our loss of our desires.
I think you're not getting my question. Your title is A Philosophical Exposition of Blaise Pascal's Concept of Love as a Gift of Grace. Now, philosophical. My question is, don't you think it's basically theological exposition of Blaise Pascal? Because ultimately what Pascal did is to appeal to the supernatural. You get the idea? Saint Augustine, there is no, in the time of Saint Augustine, there is no clear demarcation between theology and philosophy. In Thomas Aquinas, there's already a semblance of distinction between theology and philosophy. In Blaise Pascal, it's very clear already the distinction between philosophy and theology. Okay?
Yes, Father.
Now, when Blaise Pascal appeals to the supernatural, because gift of grace is supernatural, it's not natural. Diba? Don't you think that's theological already rather than philosophical?
Yes, Father, but it's inside on human nature and also discuss about the self-deception and love still have philosophical values inside. Uh,
No problem with that. But
Yes, sir.
okay, let me ask you. What's the distinction between theology and philosophy?
that's Father. About philosophy, about discussing about life or human life or our
But theology also does that. Huh?
theology.
Theology speaks about life.
More is discussed about supper like God or supernatural, Father.
Yeah, but later on. But
Yes.
of course, we are still alive here in this world, and that's the reason we are talking. We have theological discussions.
Yes.
Yeah. What makes philosophy and theology different from each other?
Mm. First, about philosophy is about deeper understanding about the reason. For the theology is about the faith.
Precisely. Theology is about faith.
Yes, Father.
Okay. Don't you think that the notion of a gift of grace is a matter of faith rather than reason?
Yes, Father is also regarding because for Pascal he believed that some reason cannot fully grasp and just only face can understanding. For he does not reject reason, but he also limits the reason, and reason help us recognize its own insufficiency, leading us to faith and openness to grace.
Precisely. No? So, on that regard, it's not, he's already appealing to theology, not to philosophy. He's already crossing boundaries. Is that the case?
Uh, is this one he's used the meaning and how its reason is it means that the certain truths or the especially about God and love are known through intuition or the heart, not through logical reasoning alone, but through faith.
Okay. Next question. Yeah. Job sir said that meaningful existence depends on grace. Ba? It depends on grace.
Yes.
Okay. But you also speak of human choice, no? In your I think you call it existential decisions, no? Um, if that is the case, no? If love ultimately depends on divine grace, no? Though, don't you think that um, you're actually, what's the word again? That you're actually compromising human freedom already.
That's Father, because we have freedom for our choices, our freedom. Because he raised about his wager, that is about rational choice. And for Pascal, he argues that believing God is the most rational choice because the potential gain eternal happiness it outweighs the minimal loss or temporary sacrifices. It choosing, for example, choosing to believe in God is like insurance. You may never need it, but the risk of not having it is far greater.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. But that's exactly the very reason why. Are you familiar with Jansenism?
Yes, Father.
Okay. That's the problem also in Pascal. No? Where does God's grace end and where does human freedom begin?
Um,
Without falling into Jansenism.
that's Father. For for God, He loves us unconditionally and He gives us grace. And even though that human have free choice to choose our uh, our existence. If you choose to be, for example, in the wager he discussed about if we if uh, if you believe in God and God exists, you gain eternal happiness. If you believe and God does not exist, you lose little. If you do not believe in and God exists, you risk losing everything. And if you do not believe and God does not exist, you gain a little. So Pascal concludes that it is moral rational to choose belief. For example, our decision, our everyday decision, choosing to study for an exam, if we are unsure what will come out, because the benefit is passing is greater than the risk.
Okay, let me just, okay. I'll ask you this question. Now, um, I'm going to formulate it and you answer me if it's right or wrong. Huh? Okay. I'm using Catholic theology teaches no, that fallen humanity cannot love God or be saved without a special grace given freely by God. True or false?
False, Father, because uh, for Christianity we need to believe in God, even though we committed sin, but we come back to God and is forgiven, and we can receive grace from God. And
And don't you think that the point of Blaise Pascal is precisely that? That humans, because of our fallen nature, cannot love God or be saved without special grace given by God.
That's Father, because of the fallen of
So,
Adam and Eve.
so wait. So Blaise Pascal is a Jansenist.
Father.
But don't you think? Okay, that's a very good, no? People are debating that, no? But keep in mind that Jansenism is rejected by the church. We don't lose our freedom even if we need the grace of God. Because if we lose our freedom, then whatever we do, no, we are not responsible for the consequences of our actions. Grace is there helping us now exercise our freedom. No? But it doesn't mean that we lose our freedom in the very acceptance of God's grace. That's the very reason why scholars are divided whether Blaise Pascal is a Jansenist or really a faithful Catholic. No? Just keep that in mind because Blaise Pascal, his cause for canonization is already open. And if Jansenism is heretical, then you need to distance his position from Jansenism. You need to clarify that. Okay? And in his work, particularly in the concept of love as a gift of grace, no, there is a very, very strong interpretation of Jansenism there. No? Okay?
Yes, Father.
Okay. Okay, third and last question regarding the content. Of course, when Blaise Pascal wrote about these ideas, he's basically in the midst of a highly Catholic and Christian nation, France. Now, do you think that his idea is limited only to a Christian theistic framework?
No, Father, is open to also non-Christian.
But what about if the concept of love as a gift of grace coming from God, how would you play that out? Don't you
Um,
think it presupposes the theistic belief already? I mean, it's very, very Christian.
yes, Father, because he also in this thesis also explain about his Pascal wager is about to to help others to have the view to believe in God or not. Because for him, believe in God is greater than to not believe in God. If we believe in God, we gain everything. But if we do not believe in God, we can lose eternal. And that's why for Pascal, this one open to everyone, even though the non-Christian, to believe in God in order to help them to have receive the grace and the love of God. Thank you,
Okay,
Father.
that will be all.
Thank you very much, Father Kenneth, for those clarifications. I just want to comment first on if you're going to look at your outline, no? Uh, in this, okay, chapter 4, letter B. Okay, you see that on page 4, no, of
Yes.
the outline. It says Blaise Pascal and the paradox of human nature. Then you have number 1, source of the paradox. Usually we don't do like this, no? Because if you only have 1 here, there should be number 2. But if you don't have number 2, then don't put number one. Okay, just integrate it in the in letter B if there is no number two. Okay,
Yes, Father.
do you see that? No, because I think you want one of the things you want to talk about is the source of the paradox. So you just include it here. No more number one. No, okay. If really there is no number two, but if there is number two, did you see that?
Yes,
Go to
Father.
page 4. Okay, because it's the same thing that is repeated also. Ah, I should have called. Go to chapter 2. Chapter 2 on the first page of your table of contents. So chapter 2, letter C, Blaise Pascal's idea of grace. You go to that page first in your table of contents.
Yes, Father.
Okay? So letter C, right?
Yes, Father.
Blaise Pascal's idea of grace. Then you have number 1, free choice. There is no number 2. Okay? So if there is no number 2 here, you just integrate it in the entire section of letter C.
Yes, Father.
Okay? So this is maybe we okay, just some clarification. I just want like you to just to see how you would answer this question. Okay, so very similar also to what Father Kenneth asked. No, how does Blaise Pascal define the relationship between the heart and reason in the context of divine love? How does Blaise Pascal define the relationship between heart and reason in the context of divine love?
For Pascal, he believed that the heart is reason, and how he divide between about the reason and love in uh, God's love. About it means that for him, especially about God's love, are known through intuition or the heart. Is not about through logical reasoning alone, but in this one he believed that the heart has our uh, reason to understanding to listen is like to believe in God. It's not reason is limited by understanding about God, but here we need to use our heart to understand it deeper about we can experiencing about the love of God through uh, his grace.
Okay, so you're saying that there is limitation to human reason.
That's one.
Okay. Second, explain the significance of the paradox of greatness and misery in Pascal's argument for the necessity of grace.
That's what about the paradox of greatness and mystery. According to Blaise Pascal, the human person is both great and miserable at the same time. Greatness comes from our ability to think, reflect, and seek truth. Misery comes from our weaknesses, sinfulness, limitations, and mortality. This creates a paradox because humans are not purely noble, not purely righteous. We are both, for example, intellectual greatness and moral wretchedness. A person can understand what is right, but still choose to lie. This shows greatness, knowing truth, and misery falling to live in.
Okay, just want to. How does the concept of the hidden God impact human search for truth? Talk about hidden God.
Mm. About a hidden God. Um, for Pascal, he recognized God's hiddenness, hiddenness as a protective measure for human freedom. Uh, it emphasized that humanity and love are vital for divine encounters. It addresses a paradox of Christ embody both in hiddenness and revelation. Pascal's critics, those skeptical of reason for their ignorance, argue since he seeks to comfort, doubt, and engage with spiritual truths. He emphasized with reason seekers while contrasting them with the different. Ultimately, seeking God is depicted as an act of loving surrender that nurtures genuine faith and relationship with the divine.
Okay, just without reading from your text, I just would like to ask how you understand in what ways does Pascal's wager, no, serve as a rational gateway to a meaningful existence? You talk about meaningful existence, no?
Yes, Father.
So how does how is Pascal's wager serve as a rational gateway to a meaningful existence in your own
Yes,
words?
Father. For me, through his wager, Pascal's wager, he help us to understanding to believe in God is the best way, rather than to do not to disbelieve in God. Because when we believe in God, we need to we can find true happiness through His love and grace. But if we do disbelieve in God, we can lose everything. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for answering those questions. Okay, so I think um, thank you for writing this thesis. I think Father Kenneth has told you the things you need to improve. You can go back to this recorded um, question and answer, and then you can improve. Okay,
Yes, Father.
especially I think Father Ken mentioned about some of your sources. Okay,
Yes, Father.
okay, to make it more scholarly. Okay,
Yes, Father.
okay, okay. We just can leave the room for a while. Okay, Tang, congratulations. Okay. Father Kenneth has clearly expressed the things that you have to revise, especially on the sources. So to make your thesis more scholarly, you can remove some of the sources here that are just blogs, okay, or vlogs, okay. You look at them, and maybe we could say that you have listened or uh, read them. That's only for your personal enrichment, no? For you to maybe understand more deeply the topic or to help you understand. But you don't have to put them here because those are not scholarly sources, okay? So remove those ones in your bibliography that are not scholarly,
Yes,
okay?
Father.
And uh, content-wise, it's good. Thank you for this research. You just have to do some revisions. No? The one that I told you also, there are things. If there is no number one, if there is no number two, you just put letter B, and that's it. No? Okay. Okay. So, congratulations. No, you have your thesis is approved with some revisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Salamat, Father.
Okay, so let's have our picture taking.
It only depends today.
Em coi á. Hả? Ra đây à?